if we break it down, right? So scarcity, it really means leading from less. And so when you think about nonprofit sectors, there's a badge of honor when you can do more with less.
Yes.
And so every time you talk about nonprofit world to individuals, there's a belief that, well, they don't have much, it's stressful because you're constantly trying to help others with less. You're constantly looking at budgets and stretching yourself thinner and thinner. And so leading from scarcity is the understanding that individuals are really doing a lot of work with less.
Yeah.
And that's really, like, it's the badge of honor.
It is. It is. Hello, and welcome back to Elevate Your Impact, where we help nonprofits connect to resources. I'm Jamila Robinson, your host, and also the founder of Elevate Your Impact, a digital marketing firm that helps nonprofits tell their stories and amplify their impact online. And so today we have a, a not so topical topic, and I'm excited to walk through this because it's something that as nonprofit leaders we always put on the back burner, and that is ourself. A lot of us focus on building the infrastructure, the systems, the processes, so that we can get to the funding and scaling our not-for-profit businesses. And those are all great things, but at what cost are we doing that at? If you're someone like me who is results driven, you could probably be burning yourself into the ground, like literally every day, just exhausting all of your energy to make things happen. And that's not good for our health, our bodies, our well-being. It and it actually forces us to operate from a position of scarcity. And so today, I am so delighted to have this conversation and to introduce to you Telisa Dixon, who is the founder of Harmony Rising Therapy and Consulting. Telisa helps individuals and organizations understand how emotional health, leadership, and purpose intersect, especially in environments where people are constantly pouring into others. Telisa, welcome.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here
today. Thank you.
You want to get started?
Sure.
Let's do it. For those who haven't had the opportunity to meet you, tell us a little about yourself and what inspired you to start Harmony Rising Therapy and Consulting.
So my name is Telisa Dixon, as you already stated.
Yes.
And I've been in the nonprofit sector in a space of helping individuals for about 20 years. And so I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been driven to support individuals. I've always been driven to, I call it healing, to help people heal. What I've noticed over the years is working with leaders, working with individuals. I specialize in high performing professionals or individuals. They're always seeking to help others. They're always giving and pouring out of themselves onto others. And it starts to really wear and tear on their bodies, their minds, their relationships, their personal relationships. And so I'm constantly in a space of asking them, when was the last time you listened to yourself? So I got into this private practice. I want to say I did it on my own, but I will be honest with you, this was a spiritual journey.
For most of us, it is.
It is a spiritual journey because individual work is not easy, because it is things that you could carry home, right? And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. And so I got into this work to help God's people, if I'm being honest.
I love that. I love that. So you introduced the phrase leading from scarcity. What does that mean to you?
if we break it down, right? So scarcity, it really means leading from less.
Mm.
And so when you think about nonprofit sectors, there's a badge of honor when you can do more with less.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so every time you talk about nonprofit world to individuals, there's a belief that, well, they don't have much. It's stressful because you're constantly trying to help others with less. You're constantly looking at budgets and stretching yourself thinner and thinner. And so, leading from scarcity is the understanding that individuals are really doing a lot of work with less.
Yeah.
And they're that's really like it's the badge of honor.
It is. It is. And as you're making the things happen, what I see in the back of my mind is, and because I've been on it, is like this rat wheel where you are just going, 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 going,
Yes.
not really getting anywhere, but thinking that you're
Yes.
making these accomplishments and these milestones.
Yeah.
And your mental health is not being thought of or taken care of.
Yeah. Nobody's pausing to actually understand what the scarcity looks like behind the scenes.
So very true.
Yeah. And so if the mission is to help these families, to help the families with less in the organization, so how is that happening? The culture. It's the culture.
Yeah. I agree. And somebody's doing more.
Somebody's doing more.
So that's the ultimate payment.
that someone's always doing more with less.
Yep. Okay. Many nonprofit leaders expect limited resources, but how does a culture of scarcity begin shaping the leader, not just the organization?
So, like I said, someone's always doing more with less, and the leader is at the top. And so the leader is always expected to make sure that this organization runs, make sure that the mission is being pushed, make sure that staff are being taken care of. They're always thinking about the client, the participant, the member, the board. There's constantly so many different running parts all at once, and the leader hasn't stopped to have lunch. When was the last time I always hear, I even eat lunch from my desk. I eat while I'm
Badge
working.
Badge of honor.
There you go.
Okay.
And so then the leader, the scarcity starts to really dictate who the leader is. It starts to become the fabric or the identity of the leader. And so here this leader is trying to be the best that they can, but they are also in survivor mode. And they didn't realize that they fell into that space. But again, it is the culture. It is the belief system of nonprofit sectors, is that there's a sacrifice. You got to work more than 40 hours a week. You have to keep pushing yourself. Did you try to do this? Have you tried these things? Funders are always looking at the overhead. Well, you probably didn't need to spend that amount of money. Did you actually need a printer? Should you have used color ink? Yeah. So it really becomes
the last penny.
Yes, it becomes the fabric of this leader. And then they realize, oh, this organization, yes, nonprofits are running in a scarcity type of mindset, but then they realize, wow, this scarcity is now controlling my everyday activity. I haven't had lunch. I don't know when the last time I did something that brought me joy. I'm looking at printers and I'm asking myself, should we have a printer? My computer takes 45 minutes to boot up, but it's okay because I'm still going.
Yeah. Everything's running on scarcity at that point.
Everything is running on scarcity.
You've mentioned the nonprofit starvation cycle. Can you explain what that is and why so many organizations find themselves caught in that cycle?
Yes. So nonprofit starvation cycle has been researched and evidence-based since, I believe, the early 2000s. And not a lot of nonprofit leaders know about it or have heard about it. I feel like it's really comes down to a belief system. And the belief is that nonprofits should do extraordinary things with minimal resources.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the nonprofit starvation cycle says that there are three things that really happen behind the scene. Funders have high expectations for nonprofits to perform with less. They also, nonprofits have less technology or resources that they need to actually get things done.
Mm-hmm.
How many organizations do not have reliable CRM systems and have 100 spreadsheets?
Right.
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 And then the other thing is that they have high expectations in staff but low overhead, and so they're
How
not
do you
able.
recruit the best?
Right? So you're not able to truly pay your staff what they're worth, or a fraction of what they're worth, because the cycle is funders want to look at the overhead and then they want to nickel and dime how you should perform. And so then people, nonprofit leaders, really get stuck in that cycle. And so I have, in my experience, I've been in this, like I said, for a while. I've seen a lot of nonprofit leaders become very, have vicarious trauma from their leadership
Define
of,
that vicarious trauma.
okay, secondary trauma
Break it
or
down.
vicarious trauma. And so it's a cycle that we were talking about, the hamster wheel. And so you have a mission that is designed to help individuals in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have an organization who is falling into crisis, right?
And so vicariously,
We are walking alongside our members that we're trying to help out of crisis, but we're constantly falling into the pits of crisis because of this starvation cycle. And so leaders are carrying this home because the weight of the organization falls on that leaders, that is the executive director's shoulders. So now they are constantly in a space of, did I do enough today? Did I actually have lunch? I should not have had lunch. Now we're dreaming about the next board meeting. How can I convince the board members to approve the printer that we need so I can stop printing at home on my personal printer? Right?
That sounds like a nightmare, Telisa. Not a dream.
And there are so many leaders in nonprofit sectors that are operating from those spaces. And that is the nonprofit starvation cycle. And so being able to, one, as leaders, being able to identify, where do I fall on this spectrum? You know, when was the last time, like I said, I did something that brought me joy? When was the last time I was able to leave the office and go have lunch without guilt?
It sounds like a self-check-in.
Yes, but self-check-ins are looked at in this sector as selfish, right? They're not seen as important. It's not a part of the culture. So scarcity becomes a part of the culture, and that becomes a part of the fabric or the identity of the leader.
That's unfortunate. Why do you think mission-driven leaders become so comfortable ignoring their own needs? You just kind of mentioned the cultural stigma.
It's the culture, right? The belief system behind the nonprofit starvation cycle, even if it's the unconscious belief system, but that belief system turns into the culture. And so I'm reminded years ago, I was an advocate for sexual assault survivors or victim survivors. Mm-hmm. And I had to do a 56-hour training. Okay. And the first day they talked about vicarious or secondary trauma. And it's followed up right behind it with, even in this training, you will be required to do self-care. So at the end of every training session, there were 2 hours. At the end, you had to find a partner. You had to tell your partner what you were going to do for the next week. That was self-care. Accountability. Yes. And then you came back and you checked in.
I love that.
And so while it was 56 hours, about 10 hours of it was spent on self-care. So it became a culture of being an advocate. And so that is not woven into nonprofit leadership. I have recently seen there's a university that does like executive director development, and they have a class about self care, but it is not woven into nonprofit organizations, such as taking time to honor your team, taking
Yeah.
them to lunch,
Yeah.
right? Having a team development opportunity where you take them out on an activity. Scarcity says we don't even have the funds to honor our team
Instead of looking for ways to make that happen.
And so I think it's because it hasn't been a part of the language or the culture of nonprofit world, and how individuals get really stuck in that cycle.
Good answer. At what point does sacrifice stop being healthy and begin affecting leadership?
So I feel like sacrifice can, you know, I feel like sometimes they say it's a part of leadership, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I always think about, nonprofit leaders and faith-based leaders, and how, if you're sacrificing, you're doing what is good for the flock. You're doing what is right for your members or your participants. But when the sacrifice interrupts the fact that you haven't had a full night's rest, then that's a problem. When you have performed all that you're going to do, Sunday mornings, your faith-based leaders have performed all of them. They've given all that they can give. But after service, then they're still giving 4 more hours to people who want to come in their office.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get to spend quality time with family. They haven't slept. The phone is ringing all night. That's when it becomes the issue, right? Yeah. So when you talk about nonprofit leaders, they're taking it home. Like I said, they're not sleeping. They're really thinking about this board, trying to get things approved. They're thinking about the staff member could have a medical crisis, but they don't have funds to increase income. Mm-hmm. And so you have this staff member who could possibly have to leave because of a medical crisis, so it becomes this domino effect.
Yeah. And I hear you say also is, what I'm hearing you say is there are no boundaries.
There are no boundaries.
There's no limits to, the continued layers of help that I'm just going to provide.
I'm just going to keep giving.
Yeah.
Because it is what is expected in this sector, right? It's a part of the culture. Stopping to give myself something else is not a part of the culture. Stopping to take a vacation, it's not a part of the culture. Mm-mm. Faith-based leaders, if they're not there on Sunday morning, someone's upset.
Right.
It's not a part of that culture.
Right. Or my preacher's not preaching today.
Yes. So. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I, as a clinician, I like to slow down and teach my members or my clients boundaries when it comes to what are you offering, and whatever you're externally thinking about is great because that is a part of the role of leadership. But then when you dial it back, what are you giving to yourself, and how are you stopping to give yourself joy? When was the last time you had a vacation? When was the last time you called into work and you said, you know what? I did not get enough rest last night. Cognitively, I am not myself. But do we do that in nonprofit sectors, or are we told that we just have to get up and keep going? If you don't have a full night's rest, cognitively, you're not functioning well.
Right.
But you get in there and you keep functioning. But then what does that look like when it comes to leadership? It looks like a leader who's exhausted. It looks like a leader who their sense of urgency is, you didn't reply to my email 2 minutes ago.
Right.
It looks like you misspelled a word, and now the whole organization is going to crumble.
And you're passing on that mindset to the people that are watching you.
There you go.
And so now they think, that this is the standard. This is the culture that I've engaged myself in.
Yeah. Yeah. And it becomes hyper sensitivity around the entire organization. They're scared, they're nervous, it's just a lot of tense, and it's a tense environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so it be just the domino effects. So yes.
Well, Telisa, this is going to be a two-part conversation. So you guys are going to have to stay tuned to get all the other additional gold nuggets that she's going to drop on us. But if there were one takeaway, we have definitely, let me say, we have definitely defined what operating from scarcity looks like, and how it can impact you. But if there were one takeaway from today that our audience could use to move forward meaningfully, what would that be?
The one takeaway would be asking yourself, can I still hear myself while I lead?
Mm.
Can I hear my body? Do I hear my hunger pains internally, right? Asking yourself, can I step away for lunch today? Is it okay if I'm 10 minutes late? Can I call and say, hey, I'm going to need a little extra time today? Is it okay to book the vacation?
Yeah.
Even if the vacation is a staycation.
Yeah.
Book the vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my biggest takeaway is asking yourself, one, am I doing something that brings me joy? Well, should I say, when was the last time I did something that brought me joy? And then two, can I lead and still hear myself?
Those are great questions. And, some of the examples you gave sounded so trivial, but if you don't have any boundaries,
yeah,
those are great starting points for check-ins. So that is a tangible takeaway.
Boundaries are important.
Well, thank you for your conversation today. Before we let you go,
okay,
I'd like to do a lightning round challenge with you.
Okay.
Are you up for it?
Sure.
So you just answer from the top of your head with whatever response you have to the question.
Okay.
All right. We'll start off easy. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
You think it too hard. Come on. This is lightning round.
Okay.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Okay. One word that describes healthy leadership.
Sleep.
Oh, good one. What's one leadership habit you'd encourage every nonprofit leader to develop?
Boundaries.
Good one. And what's one myth about leadership you'd love to eliminate?
Say it again.
What's one myth about leadership that you would love to eliminate?
I think being mean.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out a different way to say it.
No, thank you for saying it that way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people associate that with leadership.
Yeah.
And it's so not.
a part of all sectors, a part of all cultures, right? Race, ethnicities. They say you have to be stern, right?
Yeah.
Have to be stern to get things done. I think it's another way that we can figure out how to lead. People trust you, people believe you, and people respect you without fear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're going to end it there, guys, because we could start a whole another conversation from just that one thought. Thank you again so much for your time today. Tune in for segment and episode 2 of this conversation.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Great.